So today I took off from the corporate job. I took a few days off. It was much, much needed. And I had to force myself into stillness. I had to force myself. And if you are like me, you might relate when you're in a job that requires you to constantly hustle, 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 and do 5 million tasks at once. And it can be really inundating and also really tough on the nervous system. And if you don't have certain techniques to help you to stay grounded, it can be difficult. That's how we reach burnout. That's how we reach like just crazy amounts of stress and the racing thoughts and feeling like you just can't disconnect at all from, your job even after you clock out. Those are all indicators that the nervous system is just completely overstimulated and needs time. And if you know me and if you've been here before, well, first, hi, my name is Bianca. I'm a mindset and manifestation coach and the creator of the Intuitive Circle. And I help women to unlock basically things that have been in the subconscious that have kept individuals stuck from creating a life that they love. So I help to unlock what those are and also help you to move past them so that you're able to start getting into the play mode of creating a life that you truly love and enjoy, showing you how to be fully satisfied in you. So welcome if it's your first time, and if you're back, I'm so happy to have you again. And the reason today I wanted to talk a little bit more about overstimulated nervous systems is because, as I was mentioning before, that I'm someone who loves to put in little practices to help me to bring it all back, to do breath work during my lunch break, to go out for that walk, to listen to some music, to dance it out, to do anything to move that energy that is just not welcome. As empaths, because if you're here, you are more than likely an empath. I think that we often will absorb other people's emotions. We will also start to memorize their tendencies and behavioral patterns in order to create a safe space. And so we often are trying to act ahead in order to create safety. And a lot of times that means that we are starting to take on traits of that individual or those people or that environment, and we're not releasing. And so every time that I was doing these different techniques like breath work, doing body scan method, and if you don't know the body scan method, please check the description box below because I offer it for free. And just trying again, like I mentioned before, dancing it out. I'm really big on singing. It moves energy, clears the throat chakra. I'll go drive during my lunch break. So all of these techniques were helping to a certain extent, but then it was like it kept getting bombarded over and over and over again. And the best way to kind of describe that, and maybe you've seen this on other content out there, is when you have like that glass that's completely clear. And then as people or situations start to unfold during the day, it's like dirt dropping into the water, right? And so you're continually trying to, pour new water in, but sometimes when there's more dirt coming in than clear water, what's going to happen? That's just going to feel like an endless cycle, and it's just going to constantly be dirty water until there's a lot more of that clear water coming in. So what I chose to do in this scenario was to take some extra time off of work because the weekends weren't cutting it anymore, and I realized that when my techniques weren't working, something was wrong. So today, when I had my first day off, I was feeling a little bit overwhelmed with what to do because I still had racing thoughts from work, and I actually slept in, which I was really excited about. And what I ended up doing was a meditation in the morning, because in some of my earlier content, and I probably should be talking about this a lot more, one of the best times to manifest is when we wake up and when we go to sleep, because we are moving into a certain state of brain waves, such as alpha and theta, that allow us to really get deep into the subconscious level and start to plant the seeds of the future, of who we want to be, of how we want to feel. And it's an incredible way to do those things. I love the method. And what I chose to do today was meditation that I've learned from Joe Dispenza, where you are focusing on your intentions, and with those intentions you're also looking at how would you feel once those things occur. So if it's making money, if it's getting a new house, whatever the case might be, and focusing on how you would feel once they occur, then you create a symbol and you focus on that symbol every time you start to conjuring those feelings. So this morning I really leaned into that, and I felt like it helped to kickstart my day so much, to the point where I felt less and less thoughts flooding. And then I chose to move into a slow morning. So I've talked a lot about having cacao in the morning, but energies have shifted significantly to the point where my routines are no longer feeling like they're in alignment with me. So I have instead decided to do things that I just feel called to do instead of creating routine. It seems to be working really well for me right now. So, of all things, I felt called to color. I used to be really into painting and drawing before I had my kiddos. And I felt like yesterday I started getting visuals of like just doing like coloring books. Like, I love those cozy TikToks, if you guys know what I'm talking about. So when I was thinking about like coloring, I felt like, oh, just like let my mind be free and just get absorbed in like what I'm doing. Like, I just love this idea. So I did that and it felt really good. And I listened to some music while I was doing it. And then the downloads started coming in about content to make and different things that I want to do with the intuitive sparkle. And that was super exciting. So after all of that was said and done, one of the funniest things that I have to share was that this morning when I did the Joe Dispenza meditation, I started to get thoughts about alignment, and I started to think about chiropractic work, and I started thinking about acupuncture and a few other things. And I was thinking, I haven't been to the chiro in a while. Maybe I should think about that. And I let it go. When I took a shower, the idea of the chiropractor came back again. Weird thing. I started thinking about old chiropractors, like really, like 5 years to like 8 years ago. And I was like, that's so weird. Like, I'm not going to go and contact those chiropractors. Like, no, thank you. And then I just kind of like let things go. And again, try to just be in the moment. And I got a text message from my most recent chiropractor, like asking if I wanted to set up an appointment. And I was like, you have got to be kidding me. And I was so happy, just like that it was delivered right to me. And I was like, do you guys have an opening today? And sure enough, they did. And I got to see the exact chiropractor that I wanted, because it's run by husband and wife. And I tend to be a little bit more partial to the wife. I like her techniques. And I feel like she's pretty intuitive with how she works. So I was really happy. And it was super cool. I was loving it. And I was like, thank you, intuition, and thank you, universe. So I really just leaned in today to the feelings of fulfillment and told myself that rushing to get content done wasn't going to be the answer. And it helped a lot, like so much. And today was probably the first day where I felt a little bit more like myself. And it was because I listened and I realized it was time to take time away. And I'm so glad that I did. And I got a lot done outside of, trusting my intuition. I actually went and started making space, which is absolutely a precursor to what's yet to come. I've been feeling energy shifts and it's super exciting. I have been feeling more in alignment with my future self and what I envision for the intuitive sparkle. And as a result, I started getting into a flow today where I went into my kiddo's bedroom and I started getting all of their clothes that they don't fit in anymore and getting a donation pile ready. I had like a huge pile of my own clothes that I meant to donate, got that in a bag and put everything into the car. And then I started doing a ton of laundry. Like I was just doing like all of these different things that I had wanted to do for so long, but was neglecting to do because I felt so overwhelmed with stress. And I, anytime that I had, I went into stillness instead of like doer mode because I felt like I was so overstimulated that doing would only make it worse and overfry the system. So I share this with you guys because one, you're likely in, a 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 job. And it's always a question of, well, how do I manifest my dream life if I'm in a reality like this, especially if maybe you're unhappy and, whatever else, maybe just not good feelings. Know when it's needed to take time away because sometimes we need to just trust and allow. And believe me, It I felt very uncomfortable taking time away, not because anyone made me feel that way, but because there was a lot happening and I pushed through as hard as I could, put everything in a good state so that the person who was going to be covering for me would have it easier. And it gave me peace of mind and I got to have this amazing day and I'm really looking forward to tomorrow and the other days that I've decided to take off too. So I'll keep you guys posted, but just wanted to share this one because I love to let you guys behind the scenes on my own journey and just help you to understand that we really are all in this together. So it is that time, my friends. Thank you so much for being here. And as always, shine on.